Has there been any bad accidents that you've seen or even been involved in where you're like, oh no, this could go the wrong way?
Mining's dangerous. Yeah. That's just how it is. The site that I was working at, let's say the sort of the first mining site that I worked at, a guy was actually killed maybe a month ago. Really? Yeah, he was unfortunately squished between a machine and a wall. As far as I know, that's what happened there, and I don't want to touch on that too much more.
Yeah, of course.
Like, out of respect for his family.
Yeah.
But no,
it's dangerous.
Well, it shows how dangerous the job is.
Yep. It's a dangerous thing, and a very small lapse of your mind can have real consequences.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Talkin Shop. Today we're joined by Ben Towers, a heavy diesel tech all the way from Ghana. It's Australian. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe and let us know who you want on Talkin Shop next. Well, thank you very much for coming, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been cool.
Do you know what? Normally one of my first, I always go like crap first questions because it's just like the awkwardness of like, oh, we've started.
Yeah.
But like I'll always go like, oh yeah, how long did it take you to get here, or you know? In this case, thousands of miles. But how long have you been in the UK then? So
like 3 days, I think.
3 days.
I think I landed on like the 15th or the 16th, maybe. I'm not. Yeah.
No.
I've just gotten over my jet lag, so
yeah.
Just a few days so far, but
yeah. Just here for work, or
I'm actually here on my days off. I just happened to run into some people from work, just sort of by coincidence. But,
okay.
I'm here. I'm meeting my sister in Italy in a couple of days.
Where's she in Italy?
So she's in Australia. So she's flying over like as we speak.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
And meeting her there.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll just meet her there. And
it's a lot easier than flying back to Australia.
It's not far, is it?
It's like just next subuurb over now.
That's it. That's it. Easy enough.
You're well travelled then. So where have you worked? Where have you seen?
So I'm working in Ghana right now. Previous to that, it's mostly been in Western Australia, which is like sort of the mining, it'd be top 3 like mining capital of the world sort of thing.
Nice.
And then before that, I was like on the east coast of Australia. It's just been Australia and West Africa.
Cool.
But one of the perks, I guess, of doing what I do is that they'll fly you anywhere in the world for your days off. Mm-hmm. So I do like 6 weeks on and then 3 weeks off. And in my 3 weeks off, they'll fly me just wherever.
That is cool.
Yeah. That's to me, that's the reason I got into it. I read a book when I was a kid about a British guy actually, in the oil field, and how he got to travel all over the world and do all this cool stuff. And I was like, oh, I want that. And I tried to get in touch with him, and I ended up speaking to his secretary, who pretty much said, and like he's written like a bestseller and all this stuff, and his secretary pretty much said, I spoke to him for a couple of minutes. He doesn't have time, but he said, don't get into mining. Don't get into oil and gas. It's a dying industry. Get into mining. That's the future of being able to travel with work.
Yeah.
And so I just like took that as gospel and
went for it.
That was like my main inspiration for doing it. But,
Well, tell us a bit about you then, mate. Tell us where it all started.
So I dropped out of high school very young. Started my apprenticeship at 15. I was working for Volvo, like road trucks, working on Volvo and Mack trucks. Finished my apprenticeship there, got bored, moved to a different state pretty much overnight, started working for Komatsu, and then I started to specialise in Latorno, which is a company owned by Komatsu, and they do diesel electric hybrid loaders. They're like the biggest loaders in the world. And then because Komatsu had bought Latorno and they'd been able to start using their diesel electric hybrid technology, they for a while have been like putting that technology into trucks, into like mining dump trucks. And so my skill set with that, I was purely by luck, was very valuable in the mining industry. So then I went to Western Australia and got stuck into just field service, going to like many different mine sites and just going around and playing with trucks and loaders and
and we're not talking about we're not talking about the the usual size? Are we talking like the monstrous ones?
Yeah. So like,
I think there's only like one or two in the UK. I think they're Hitachi ones up in the northeast. The megas.
Yeah. So if they're owned by Thies, they'd be like I think they're like a 6,000 or something. They're very, very large.
Yeah.
It's Komatsu and Caterpillar's equivalent. To that size truck. They in like the bigger trucks, the payload's like 260 metric tons of just like loose dirt in the back. The truck's still like I wouldn't know the weight of the trucks, but like the weight of the loaders is 220 metric tons.
Yeah.
They put like 75 metric tons in one bucket load. Yeah. Like they're enormous. Yeah. They're not road going trucks.
No. Well, I saw the like the big dump trucks.
Yeah.
But then I saw like over here I think we only have like the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And then I saw one of the big ones. I was like, okay, that's crazy.
Impressive.
Yeah. That's just crazy. Yeah. It's like 4 stories high. Mental.
Yeah, literally.
It's the size, just the wheel that alone is probably bigger than our equivalent of an Arctic dumper.
Yeah. Well, like your dump trucks, they're like the articulated Moxies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and not to be like American. Not to be like,
here we go, full American mode.
But like one of them will fit like in the bucket of one of these loaders.
Yeah.
And they're incredibly large. And then you can go like even bigger than that and go to like rope shovels and drag lines and stuff. And drag lines are like 130 meters tall.
Wow.
Yeah. And they like the swing on their bucket could be, you could get maybe like 80, I'm only guessing here, but like 80 meters of swing from like where they pick the dirt up to where they put it down.
Wow.
Could honestly be even more than that. Like it's
like a football pitch.
Literally. Like you go into a drag line and like they never stop. They've got like their own little support tractors. Like so they're electric powered and they've got their own little support tractors that push like the extension cable for the machine around while it's like doing its job. Yeah.
That is crazy.
And they never stop and you like climb in the back of them and they've got like their own workshop inside the machine with like benches and a vise and whatever. And like you go up the top where the operators are and like there's multiple operators in there and they've got like a little, we call it smoko, like your lunch room. They've got their own little lunch room inside the machine and like they're enormous. They're huge.
Yeah. This is like you don't realize until you see one like this. Yeah. You think the usual ones are massive anyway in the mining industry, but then you look at the ones. And like I said, I think there is only like a couple of them if they're still here, but in the UK.
Well, Thies is very like a big company and they've sort of got all the biggest machines in Australia as well and them amongst some other companies. But so if it's a Thies thing, that would for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, over here you think, something like a Liebherr, like I don't know, LH60, something like that. You think that's big.
Yeah. And then you see these things.
It's just nothing. I can imagine nothing like
the LH60s like excavators. Like So the Liebherrs that are common in Australia for mining are the 996, which has been discontinued and turned into the 9600 and then the 9800 and 9800 is literally 800 tons.
Wow.
And they're enormous. They're an incredible machine.
That's the difference there, isn't it? Like, you think you look at a big machine, actually, no.
Well, like they've got like twin 2,000 to 2,500 horsepower engines.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they got like 4 to 5. I think some of them can even get up to 6,000 horsepower.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you even move around site safely? Like over here, it was an experience for me when I was really young and I first went on a mining site, and I'm like, why do these Land Rover why have we got Defender? Sorry, why have we got flags on the top? Why got these big flags? And I'm like, and they're like, we could get run over. I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, well, look at this thing. Like if that doesn't see you, that could go over a Land Rover and have no idea. And like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, they literally like wouldn't even feel it.
No.
Like would not even feel it. We had a loader operator once call up. He had a low coolant alarm, and so we've gone there just like to see maybe something electrical or it's actually got low coolant, whatever. And we got there and the header tank was sitting like inside the valley of the engine. We're like, what's going on here? And he'd run over a rock that was bigger than our car and not noticed it, and it had bounced the header tank out. and then broken the hoses off and sat it in there, and there was spilling coolant.
Yeah.
And that was like, and the rock was literally bigger than our car.
Yeah.
That he'd run over, and he was like completely unaware.
Yeah. You have one of those jobs where you'll sit down with a group of technicians at the pub and tell everybody what you do, and you're just like showing everyone up.
I actually try my best because like in my like early days of mining, I was working in like a residential job where like, so that everyone finishes work and goes like to the pub, the local pub. And there was always those guys that are like, oh, you know, they couldn't fix the machine without me, and I was this, and I was like, I never want to be you. Like, so I actually try my best to like
be modest about it.
Yeah, well, because not even so much modest, just like I just don't want to be a wanker, really.
No.
Like,
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like the work is probably actually easier on these bigger machines.
Okay.
Like the civil construction size machines, like the machines that are a bit smaller than the ones that you guys are talking about. In my opinion, they're actually much harder to work on than these bigger ones.
Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of the people who are like bragging about how big the diggers they work on are mostly just doing it for wank factor. Like, I don't think it's actually related to skill at all.
No.
In my opinion, the civil size stuff is much more difficult to work on.
I see I think that it's an American firm. It's like a media company. Oh, Aaron. I know.
Aaron Witt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the machinery on them, I'm like, that is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was in Australia like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And he was actually on a Thies site that I used to work on. Like I used to work at that site, and he's got like that big Liebherr 9800 digger and stuff. I'm like, oh, like that's digger 1 or that's digger 2. I was like, I know that machine. Yeah.
Worked on that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a good job.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He has a lot of fun. And he actually went to that Litorno factory that I was speaking about earlier. He went to that Litorno factory just before he came to Australia, and he's playing around with one of those loaders. So if you want to have a bit of a look or whatever a bit later, look on his page and
we'll check it out. In fact, actually, just on that then, but veering away slightly, how did you come across Talkin Shop?
Just on TikTok, actually. I think my mum might have sent it to me.
No way, really?
Yeah, mum was like, mum had sent me this thing of I think it was Jack Spanners was like talking, and mum was like, oh wow, he's like really smart, listen to what this guy has to say, and she sent it to me, and I just sort of went through the page, and I was like, oh, you guys have some like really cool conversations like that.
That's amazing.
And I just sort of got like addicted to it, and then now mum and I like send each other stuff all the time. Like,
that's really nice actually. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Wow. It was just came across you on TikTok. Yeah,
power of TikTok.
Yeah, I know, right? It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Well, we've just ticked over on TikTok.
Ticked over, there you go.
Just over 10, is it 10,000?
10K, yeah.
10,000 followers, so yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. How long have you guys been like on TikTok?
6. Yeah, it's been like 6 months before we actually made it a Talkin Shop page.
We've been rebranded. Since
used to be kind of reliant on Eclipse, but now it's kind of its own thing. But 10K in less than 6 months.
Oh, that's awesome. Well done.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, that's cool.
It's good fun. We enjoy it, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We do. So you're working in Africa at the minute. You're working in Ghana.
Yep.
How long have you been in Ghana?
About a year now.
Yeah.
About a year now. Loving it.
What's that like?
It's incredible. It's incredible. Obviously big culture shock. When you get there, but I can't possibly oversell the guys. Like they are legends. Like the people we are working with are just like the funniest people. Like always happy.
Yeah.
Like any excuse to dance, like they will take it. Like it could be, it's either their first day shift, their last day shift, their first night shift, last night shift. That's a good enough excuse to dance. It's payday, they're dancing. Like, I'll show you some videos, man. Like I've got videos of they're doing like a big singing and clapping thing because we're having like a big meeting, and it was just like an opportunity for everyone to be in the room, and they're all just like yelling and carrying on, and it's just like the best thing.
Total different vibe to hear that.
Oh yeah. Like
we don't dance.
Absolutely not. If you think about like how sad the tube is, that's how happy Ghana is.
Yeah.
They're just like the
don't even get me
happiest people.
started.
Like they're just I love the guys. Like they always the first thing they ask, like when I get back from my days off, is like, oh, how's your family? Like that's like the number one important thing. Like they're just they've all got like 1,000 children.
Yeah.
And so like some of the guys have like 6, 7, 8, 10 children.
Yeah.
And like they just love their families.
Everyone's family.
Yeah, literally everyone. Like you'll walk past the guys, if they're eating like their dinner or whatever, they'll just say, oh, like you're invited.
Yeah.
Which means like if you didn't bring food, or because like they don't know who's got what going on at home. So if you don't have any food, like you're welcome to like help yourself to some of theirs.
Oh,
yeah.
And it's like
definitely not the same as over here.
No, very much like obligation free. Yeah. Like it's they're incredible people.
Yeah.
Which is important because I suppose at times it could be a lonely job.
Yeah.
You know. So to have that actually is really important, I suppose. So.
And it's like a big sense of community. Like community is very important to them. Like they all go to church together, play sport together, work together. Their children all go to school together. It's like a very close-knit community. And so for them, they don't want to see anyone in their group going without. So they're just always like just doing the nice thing.
Yeah.
They always like ask how your family is. You know, if you're on the phone, they're like, oh, was that your mum? Because like their mum is like the most important person in the world. So if you're on the phone, they'll be like, oh, is that your mum? And you'll be like, oh yeah, it's my mum. And they're like, oh, say hi. Like, and like the guys know like my mum's name's Kelly. And so they're like, oh, say hi to Kelly for me. Like, like they just, they're all incredible.
Shout out Kelly.
Yeah.
For sharing your Talkin Shop.
The sense of community, the love that they all have for each other is just, it's unreal.
Awesome.
Can't say enough good things.
Is that quite a similar community you're from in Australia? Because you grew up somewhere really small, you were saying.
No, very different. So I grew up on a very large station. So like a cattle farm. And so we were a long way from that town of not many people. It actually got voted the most boring town in Australia 2 years in a row. Because the first year, the only form of entertainment was going to the service station and watching the numbers tick over when someone was buying fuel. And then the next year, the servo shut down. The next year it shut down. And that was,
made headlines.
Yeah, literally.
Now what do we do?
Yeah, literally. And I was like a few hours past that town.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to, like that town was 4 hours past Burke, which anyone from Australia knows is not a big or great place.
No.
And it's very much not a sense of community there.
Yeah.
So it is different in that aspect. So I'd pick Ghana over Burke.
Oh really?
Anytime. Yeah. Anytime. Yeah.
Did you know? I suppose for us, we'd have to acclimatise to the weather as well. Are you okay in the heat?
I'm better than someone from the UK would be, but like it's still very hot. Like especially underground there, it can be like 30-something degrees and it will be 100% humidity.
Wow.
And it's just like, I can't, this sounds, obviously it's Africa and like it's the jungle. So like, you know, it's going to be hot, but I can't tell you how much hotter it was than I expected. Like I got there and I was just like dripping.
Yeah.
It's just muggy, like all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know they say, it's all the same, but there definitely is like different types of heat.
No, it's not like
tell.
Australia.
Yeah.
It's not like Australia's heat. No, it's awful. It is sticky. And like some days, like I'll be literally walking around, like standing in front of a fan every time I can, like I'm like dying. And there was two of us in the workshop, two expats walking around, and one of the guys walked past in a beanie. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, it's cold. You're insane. Stop it. And he's like, you're going to get sick. Like, and for them, it's just like, it's so normal, but the expats are always like dying. And there's one guy actually, he's a Canadian and he lives in like a very rural part of Canada and it's like minus 40 degrees. And then he like,
the opposite.
And then he gets on the plane and like, the outside temperature there is like 40 degrees. So he's just had like 80 degrees of temperature change.
Wow.
Like in like 12 hours or whatever. And his,
that's going to take some getting used to, isn't it?
The only place I've been there where it's that hot was, I spent a lot of time in the Middle East when I was a kid, and like the heat there, when there's no breeze, it's like suffocating.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to escape from it really, unless you go inside. So I used to sit in like KFCs for like 5 hours because I just couldn't deal with it. Or I remember one time we went to the man-made beach over there and I ran all the way to the sea, jumped in, and it's even worse because like a hot bath.
Even the water's that.
Yeah.
What were you doing in the Middle East?
My my grandfather, he used to do some work out there. So like they worked on the Formula One track in Abu Dhabi, the yacht club as well and stuff like that. So they used to go out there for months on end. So
got shipped off with them.
Basically, yeah. So I used to go over there basically often to go and it's like a mini little holiday, I guess. Which, to be fair, when you're a kid over there, and when I went, it was still a bit of a construction site, Dubai. So, and the only thing I really remember is watching the Terminator with Christian Bale in the mall, and then just spending the entire day there as a kid because I didn't want to go outside because it's that hot.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting.
Yeah. He was, well, to be fair, and he was telling me as well. He crashed 2 cars. He totaled 2 cars, and one was hitting a camel and one was hitting a donkey. Because of the sandstorm and stuff, you can't see anything. He broke his collarbone and everything. A really bad accident. Yeah, hitting a donkey.
Wow.
Poor
donkey. Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah, it's not a problem we have. No.
Well, we won't go. We pretty much every podcast we mention my driving, but I don't hit donkeys, but I do it just about everything on the road. Watch
Curbs
out.
And,
That's it. Yeah,
curbs, cars.
Yeah.
Minibuses,
not people. Yeah,
not people. Yeah,
I mean,
no, I try not to do that.
Yeah,
but yeah, what the languages like? Have you picked up any other languages or?
I'm getting there. So nearly everyone in Ghana speaks English.
Yeah,
it's one of the recognised languages because obviously Ghana used to be a British colony.
Yeah.
But the local language in the area I'm in is Twi, and I'm getting there with that.
Yeah.
With a bit more time, I'll get there. Like
what's your one phrase? What's the phrase that you think you've got down to a T?
Oh, you just like Madasi is like, thank you. But the thing, it's not even a phrase. The thing that I use the most is when you want to go somewhere, like if someone's driving past, you like do this.
Yeah.
It means like, please give me a lift.
Oh,
and
okay.
they will always stop. Like always. So you just like do this. A stranger will just pull over and be like, where are you going?
No way.
Like, oh, I'm going down there. And they'll just like let you in.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's the one I use the most for sure. It's just like doing this.
Yeah. Over here it'd be like, yep, they're trying to rob me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, it's it's very different, but yeah, that's the one I use the most.
How do you go about learning? Is it just on your own? Do you just try and pick up phrases, or do you have
the guys push you to learn?
Yeah.
Because they're like, I think obviously because we sound funny in their language, like I think they get a bit of like
kick
joy. They get a kick
okay.
out of it. And I think they're mostly just like taking the piss. Yeah. But but I'll take it where I can.
Well, if you can learn it from somehow, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. And so like I'll say something, they'll ask me to say something, it'll take me like 3 goes, and then when I get it right, they're like, oh, like it's just And then they'll just like toddle off and go do what they're doing.
That's a fun way to learn.
It's a lot of fun.
So what's the best machine you've worked on? What's the worst?
This is not in Ghana, but Litorno L2350s and L1850s. They're just very big electric drive loaders. They're my babies. You cannot convince me there's a better machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I love them. They're like,
no. Is that just because they're good overall machine, or is it because they're just so easy when they do go wrong? They're so easy to fix, or is it because when they say you enjoy something because you're good at it? Is it because you've got that down to a T? Now they're the best things to slice bread.
No. So to be fair, everyone does hate them. Everyone, like a lot of people who don't work on them hate them because it's like their schematics are like drawn differently, so they're difficult to read for some people and whatever. But I like them because they're not made by like a construction company that tried to make their loader that's this big into a loader this big.
Yeah.
It was made by RG Litorno. Just like saw there was demand for big loaders, didn't know anything about building loaders, and just decided to make his own. And so it's like a farmer has built it. So like everything is so logical in where it is. And because he built the first one himself, like if something's hard to get to, you can see that he's like cut a piece out of like a brace or something, so you can like get to the bolt. Like everything's just so logical the way it's laid out.
Is it built for the technician in a way then? Or built to be repaired?
Yeah. It's built to be repaired for sure.
Yeah. Well, so many machines, so many vehicles I've made so you can't repair them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
like the right to repair things obviously
helped.
Yeah. But yeah, like so many things you try to work on and they've just put something in the way and you're like, could you not?
Yeah.
Like,
that's it.
Oh they can't. But it doesn't stop them from just making it a little bit difficult for you.
You need a special tool for that.
You need a special tool for that. Yeah.
And by the way, we don't have one in stock. It'll be 6 months.
That's it.
But there's only one in the country and it's 600 miles away. Yeah.
But we can come and do it for you.
Yeah.
And you know, their tech will be rocking up with like a socket that he's put on a lathe. Or,
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That'll do. What would you say your biggest challenge is? Obviously, we work with a lot of heavy machinery. Has there been somewhere along the line you've gone, yeah, that was a difficult job, or that was tough?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Compared to like your everyday technician on a on highway truck as well.
Yep.
Like, how does that compare?
I would actually say on highway trucks are some of the most inconvenient things to work on. Like, so in mining, if something's in the way, like there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting out like the oxyacetylene, cutting it off.
Yeah.
Like doing something, but like obviously if you do that on a customer's truck, like you're going to get punched in the throat. Like I would actually say it's more inconvenient to work on highway trucks. They have their own little niche problems and like the spaces aren't big on them.
Yeah.
Like because they're trying to fit like up to 700 horsepower in something that can only be as wide as the lane on a road. Like, I actually think they're quite difficult to work on.
Yeah.
I think they can be quite frustrating to work on there. Yeah, I've had a lot of struggles on them.
Yeah.
Had a lot of struggles on them.
Yeah.
And being Volvos, I know Volvo's got a pretty good reputation for hating technicians. So, I've had a few real dramas with them, especially like on the emissions side. We're a long way behind the UK with their emission standards and trying to catch up rapidly, and it's wildly inconvenient.
Is there AdBlue then?
Yeah. So we've got AdBlue, but because it's so hot and because it's a new thing for us to be storing, like everyone's just like sitting it out in the sun and it goes bad. No one knows. They put it in their truck and now you've just changed the entire fleet's worth of AdBlue pumps.
Yeah.
And then they'll just go and fill it up with the same AdBlue again.
Same again. Just thinking, you know what? I went to actually in the UK, a customer probably a couple of years ago now, same thing, even, here, having that problem here. Tank bang on the middle of the yard, filled with every single, I think it was a bus yard with that AdBlue, and then all had the same problem.
Yeah. And like,
because of the store in it.
Well, for a while there, we had to get special permission from the EPA because Volvo would put these Bosch AdBlue pumps on, not realised how many were going to like crap themselves once they got to Australia.
Yeah.
And I think they'd put like a diaphragm in the pumps backwards or something. And so we're having like entire fleets being stood down, and it didn't like make the news or anything, but it was getting to the point where places were starting to run, like mines, farms, truck yards and everything were running out of fuel because the fuel trucks couldn't be be moving. And like on-road trucking is so monopolised in Australia that there's only one or two clients who transport fuel, and all of their trucks were down. And so like no one could get any fuel, and we had to get special permission from the EPA and then demonstrate that we had that permission to Volvo to turn off the AdBlue for like to put them back in pre-delivery mode for like I think it was a month or something.
Yeah.
And like we had to air freight all these Bosch pumps from Germany over to Australia. Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
So is that the biggest challenge then, the emissions and having, because it's like an industry where you've not had to worry about it, and then somewhere else they're using it and now you've got to use it, learn how to fix it, and use it in an industry where you could just do without it, to be honest with you.
Well, like, so all the things that say the UK knows about emissions and the struggles and problems they have with it, they've learned that over implementing that kind of thing in.
It doesn't work.
Well, you guys know that. We don't know that yet. And like you guys have learned your own tricks. We're going to tell you soon. Eventually, when the carrier pigeon delivers that message. And like you guys have learned all those lessons over, say, 10 years or whatever while it's been slightly enforced. But Australia's overnight decided, no, you will match their emission standards. Yeah. No one knows anything about it. Good luck. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, that's a very big struggle. And then I guess another big struggle is like a lot of mine sites. Like there's no mine sites in London. They're always a long way from anything. And especially if they're not a really, really big mine site, you're good luck getting parts.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm in Ghana now. Parts, unless you P1 air freight them, are up to 3 months away.
No way.
Yeah, to send them from Finland.
Yeah.
Because our machines are mostly made in Finland that we're using on this site. So yeah, your parts are up to 3 months away unless you air freight them, which is not a cheap process.
No.
And you could be talking about like a little check valve that goes in a pump that's, I don't know, $50, put the mining tax on it, say it's $150, and you might have to pay 10 grand to get it there in a week.
Wow.
Or you can wait 3 months, but if it's a P1 machine, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, like 10 grand bolt.
Yeah, literally.
It's going to cost more that machine being down.
Yeah, well, that's
in the process.
Someone further up the ladder makes that decision on you know, how many tons is that machine going to produce, and is it worth doing that? Or you'll get like one machine that's down, and then you'll start cannibalizing parts off it to get other machines going, and then when it comes time to get that one going, there's all this missing crap.
Just down a vehicle.
It's just like a cycle of death.
How much would you say the average downtime cost is per day for one of the?
That completely depends on the mine. So like if you've got the ROM loader, so the ROM is where it's the run of mine. It's where you load the production material from the mine into a train. They will either use loaders or bulldozers to feed that train. Yeah. If those loaders or dozers break down in a way that prevents the train being loaded, a train for something like coal could be $2 to $3 million, and they might do 4 of them a day.
Wow.
And you also, if you send an empty train, because obviously they can't pull to the side of the road, they're trains, so they'll have a time frame, and if you don't load it in that time, the train has to go. If you send an empty train, you also get fined, and I want to say it's about $500,000 for sending an empty train.
No way.
In Australia, yeah. So like if you've got a machine down that's blocking the ROM being loaded, and you've got all these bills coming out, it could be well over $10 million.
Yeah. Wow.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So such a small issue can become quite a very expensive mistake, I suppose.
Oh yeah. When something like a ROM loader or a ROM dozer goes down, like you start to learn very quickly how you can, like, you don't even have to fix it, you just have to get it out of the way so another machine can do it. Or you learn very quickly how to, put some wires somewhere, or do what you got to do to get it out of the way.
What diagnostics are you using?
So because of these machines are so specific, a lot of them are on board. So like Latorno has like a full Windows computer is built in. The dash, that's the user interface. Sandvik's, their diagnostics are on the newer machines, they're built into the dash. On the older machines, it'll just give you a glorified flash code and you put it in like the computer. The newer ones are coming out with OBD ports, which I haven't experimented with on like the Sandvik or the Normat machines. CAT use ET, their electronic technician. Just whatever. It depends on the site, what machines they've got. Yeah. Like Komatsu's got their own one, whatever. But
have you seen Jaltest yet?
No.
Oh, so good.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me a story.
Well, any machine, literally any machine, any brand really, if it's got an OBD port, it'll plug in with component locations, wiring diagrams, test values, live data, pretty much everything bar program the ECU from scratch.
Really?
Yeah, across all. Yeah. And it even gives you like dealer manuals, belt diagrams, tightening torques, valve clearance. It's unreal. Yeah, it's so
Is that like available?
Yeah. It's the global company, but they're everywhere. And it covers literally everything. So when yours are like everything now needs a plug-in. Yeah, Jaltest is the one you want. Yeah.
Well, I might have to get my hands on one.
You might have to have a little play. In fact, we'll show you after. But we've got in the UK, I'd pretty much say every machinery operator, repairer, hirer uses Jaltest. Like I suppose over here, like big DPF problems. So even if it couldn't do anything else, Jaltest just saves you money on just being able to force a regen. Rather than having to get the dealer out. So I'm selling now. I've got I'm selling.
Just can't help himself, can he?
You're selling and I'm ready to buy. Take my money. I need that.
No, it's so good. And it's not even just the salesman. It is such a good product. Such a good product.
I'd really love to have a play.
We'll show you. We'll have to go through some of your machines specifically as well.
Like you guys, they're available in the UK. Like most of the machines, if you wanted one, you'd be able to get one in the UK. So I imagine they have access to the manuals.
They're sold to Africa loads actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have. Yeah.
So I imagine that they'd have no problem getting their hands on the manuals.
No, I would imagine so.
That'd be cool to play with.
But if you compare it to like a Cat ET, you'd be impressed.
Yeah,
you'd be really impressed.
Like Cat ET.
Sucks. Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
I don't want to like be letting an industry secret out here. Like ET sucks.
Yeah. There's some of the dealer tools as well. Like look like they're from Windows 20 years ago. Like Windows 98
or MS Paint or whatever.
Yeah. Whereas ours, it's literally like It's like iPhone for diagnostics.
Oh.
That's how good it is.
You're talking my language there. I need that.
Yeah. We'll have a look after.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
we'll show you please. No, that's cool.
Yeah. So what is it specifically? What site are you working at now? What are they mining?
They're mining gold and copper.
Yeah.
So gold and copper are almost always found together.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they're the process to make them metallurgically is the events that make them form in nature they're very similar and they need very similar deposits. So gold and copper.
Yeah.
But before that I was working in like iron ore. And before that I was in coal. So it's just whatever.
What's the biggest chunk of gold you've seen?
So some places they do have like chunks of gold. And it's just by chance. The places that I've worked, like you wouldn't even, I've like been with jumbo operators, like the drillers, the guys that know where it is. And they'll like show me, they'll be like, oh, that's gold. And I'm like, I don't know, is it? Like, it's,
you can't tell.
Like you can't really tell. I've heard stories about guys like finding crazy amounts of gold and, like big rocks and that kind of thing. But I've personally, I look at what's like the gold, they call it like GBM, like gold bearing material. And to me, it just looks like a quartz rock. It looks,
you can't tell.
Yeah, you'd be like, I'd make a road out of that. I don't know. Like it's,
I probably would have. Nah, that's scrap. That's scrap.
Aussie gold hunters.
My grandparents are mad for that. Yeah, they absolutely love it. But it's a great program.
Yeah, they're the Outback, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's an eye opener. Yeah.
That's like around like Kalgoorlie and so that's like sort of the biggest area that Australia does gold mining is around Kalgoorlie, and there's lots of people that have like private leases. It's very common out there, and you do see like people running around with metal detectors and just like doing their thing.
Hoping to get lucky.
And they'll like buy a lease and it'll come with like 5 years or whatever, and they'll just like live there for like 5 years, just digging their little hole and
That's the thing. That's the advantage as well that we have is that we're like 100 times smaller than the US. So when things go wrong, normally you can call somebody and get some help, but I can't imagine it's that easy.
No, it's not. It can be quite difficult. There's lots of movies and whatever have like jokes about people falling down mine shafts and stuff, but like it does happen.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes there's like a big like quartz thing out near our house, like lots of people, like where I grew up, lots of people do their own like quartz and emerald mining and stuff. And like every now and then you'll be like riding past an old mine shaft that's like 100 years old. You'll be like riding past on a motorbike and it'll just smell and you're like, kangaroos falling in that hole and died.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It must stink.
Yeah, it's gross.
With the heat as well.
Yeah. Literally when it's slowly cooked alive. Yeah. Nice.
Don't loads of people live underground at the Outback? I've seen these videos.
Hills of Eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. Were they playing the banjo at the time?
No, I saw they have like the cities underground.
Yeah, there is like I think it's out near like Alice Springs or somewhere. But there's like things out there, but I don't think it's like that. I think that was sort of like
pretty sensationalized.
Yeah. I think that's sort of been like talked up a bit and like pushed.
It's not actually a city.
Yeah.
It's just two houses. It's just two holes.
Just some guy with a pickaxe and a dream. But I do know what you're talking about. It is there. But I think that's sort of been sensationalized.
Has there been any bad accidents that you've seen or even been involved in where you're like, oh no, this could go the wrong way?
Mining's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. The site that I was working at, the sort of the first mining site that I worked on, a guy was actually killed maybe a month ago.
Really?
He was unfortunately squished between a machine and a wall. As far as I know, that's what happened there. And I don't want to touch on that too much more, because like out of respect for his family. But
it's dangerous.
Well, it shows how dangerous the job is.
Yep. It's a dangerous thing, and a very small lapse of your mind can have real consequences. There was a guy, this is a while ago, at one of the sites I was at in Queensland. It was before I was there, but he was in a drag line, and there was surveyors. I believe they were surveyors or maybe technicians, but like on his pad, like where he's working, and they were in a car, and they were working on the machine or looking at something on the machine, and a fly was in the cab, and he went to swipe it, and he locked it on full swing, and it pushed the car over the high wall, which is like 30 to 50 meters drop.
No way.
Yeah, and a few people died there. Like that kind of thing does happen more than I think anyone is proud of.
About the health and safety. If you think that if it's bad in this country, I can imagine the health and safety out there. Is it fairly sort of tough out there?
Yeah, it's strict. It's unfortunate that mining is just. I'm not going to say there's no safe way to do it, because there is. There is a safe way to do anything, but
there's mining safe, and then there's driving on the M1 safe.
Yeah, and they are very different things. And it is just part of the job. Like that's not a good attitude, and I think that we are getting away from it. But that's definitely the old attitude, is that it's like part of the job. Yeah, and we are slowly but surely getting away from that, which is a great thing. But it can be a deadly industry to be in.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've had to repair a machine somewhere where you're thinking, this is not good?
Oh yeah. So like, I'll show you some photos. We had an excavator. It had just been put on a build pad. So it's a very big excavator. And it had been put on a build pad and then moved a little bit, and it started to sink.
Yeah.
Because it had been raining so much in Australia. It doesn't rain like it does here, and so people aren't used to it. And now, because of this, people do like compaction tests on their build pads and make sure that it's like all steady and stable or whatever. But it started to sink one track, and keep in mind this machine is like 40 meters tall.
Yeah.
And it started to sink, and it's on 2 tracks. Someone got in it and swung the bucket over this side and tried to push it down to like lift this track out of the mud, and all it did was put all the weight on this side and pushed it down. And
even worse.
Well, the guy who did it walked without going down the stairs straight off the top of the machine onto the ground. I'll show you photos.
It was that far over, yeah.
It is buried. Wow. Literally buried. Like
no way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'll show you the photos.
How do you begin to take that out? Where did you start? Well,
if it wasn't $16 million worth of machine, you'd leave it and just get a new one. But it's $16 million worth of machine. And
someone's going to notice.
Get your shovels, boys.
And it's 3 years until you can get another one.
Yeah.
So I believe they just started digging around it. It was like the Suez Canal sort of thing. The Suez Canal, like where they just started digging around it. It was pretty much like that. Just got some little machines, started digging, pumping out the water, pumping out the mud. God. And they had to like build like a ramp to drive it out. And it actually did quite a lot of damage as well on the machine, because obviously it's got all that weight pushing on things like sensors and fuel lines.
You got water in electrics. And,
and it was like a brand new machine.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was...
Imagine someone lost their job.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, the guy that did it was actually like a big boss.
It's even worse.
He sort of... I wasn't there for this bit, but my understanding is he sort of walked over and was like... I'll fucking show you guys how to get this.
Watch this.
Hold my beer sort of thing. Just like went over and just screwed the pooch.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
The actual operator or the day-to-day operators are just going, oh no.
No, they're all
don't worry, that would have happened to any of us.
They're all like, well, this is why we didn't want to touch it.
Oh no.
But like that, there's sometimes in underground, we get told a lot, like if it's unsafe, like you check the wall, you check for cracks, you check for they like put bolts in the roof to reinforce it, and they've got these big square plates, like a big washer pretty much.
Oh, okay.
And they like you check for any bolts that are missing their washer, because it means all that force has pushed the washer off because the ground's moving. That kind of thing. You check around, and sometimes you'll be like, I'm not doing that here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm going to scoot this machine elsewhere, or they do like recoveries sometimes if it's so like in underground, a lot of the machines they operate on remotes, like the loaders are operating, but the operator who's doing it is sitting like 100 meters like around the corner or whatever in like a little hut.
Yeah.
And it's like an interface. It's exactly like being inside a cab, except it's not attached to the machine.
Yeah.
And so like if one of them breaks down, you've got to like come up with a plan. So what they'll sometimes do is they'll get like another remote loader and put like a shackle on the front of it and like drive it in with like a little camera on there. They'll drive it in and like try and get the shackle to like go over the tow hook on the other one then tow it back and just to get it out of the way.
Because that's safer for you guys then to work on rather than to go in there, and you just want it there anyway.
Like you absolutely do not under any circumstances go into a remote place. Like it's if they're working there on remotes, like it's obviously because the roof's falling, like it's so like it's just not an option to go in there.
These remote machines are becoming more and more now. A different industry, I know, but I saw a video a few weeks ago now where in these drilling rigs in the North Sea, because of North Sea, it's it is a dangerous place to be. Quite literally, these machines were being operated from inland. These oil rigs in the middle of the sea being sort of remote used, if you like, which say just the technology we've got these days allows us to be in a safe working area. Oh, we are, but getting the job done. We are in the future, for sure. There's Volvo had a thing. They did like a demonstration thing where they were saying to some potential clients like, "Oh, this is one of our machines. It's remote operating, blah blah blah." And they showed them on the screen, and they're doing this thing, and the customer's like, "Oh wow, this is great!" Like, and they held it at like a quarry, like a site. And the client's like, "Oh, this is amazing. Can we go see the machine?" They're like, "Absolutely not. This machine's 500 kilometers away in a completely different mine."
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I'll show you a video of it.
I love that. I think it's such a good idea. What a great idea.
Oh, it's great. It's literally saving lives for sure.
Yeah.
We'll talk about health and safety. There's none needed really for that.
That's right.
There's no one on site doing in the dangerous area. Yeah,
that's for sure. There was a guy, because like our drill rigs like at some sites are autonomous, and you get like a little A stop. It's like basically like a little lanyard thing that's like if I go near one of these machines, I hit the button and the whole circuit shuts down. Like it's like an emergency safety thing. Like if you, I don't know, like sleepwalk into it, or like if you somehow realise you've done the wrong thing in the way, you hit it and the whole circuit shuts down. There was a guy at a site, I won't say the company, there was a guy at the site who'd had enough. He was quitting, cashed out all his leave, and he was like, "No, stuff this, I'm going." And on his fly out day, like his last day, he just like walked into the middle of an autonomous drill pad, hit the A stop, which shut down, I want to say like 8 to 10 drills and a heap of trucks. And then he threw his A stop down the drill hole. And so the only way you can so you have to recover the A stop.
Undo it. Yeah.
You have to recover the A stop and undo it and put in a little password to tell it that like it's okay, because otherwise they're worried that someone could just hit okay and then someone would get hurt. The only way, if you can't access the A stop or it's damaged or whatever, is you have to manually reprogram every machine that's on that circuit. And so it's like 30 trucks, like 8 or 10 drills. And
my nightmare.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm quitting." So
that's it. That's one way to go in it. That's good.
Yeah, and he's obviously blacklisted from any mining company, but
wow.
Yeah, he was not popular.
No, I can imagine.
Talk about downtime.
Well,
what could they have done to deserve that though? I mean, that's it begs the question, doesn't it?
I'm sure he's got a reason.
That's it. Oh my god!
I'm sure in his mind it was perfectly
justified.
Something like that. Maybe they gypped him on the Christmas bonus or something. I'm sure he's got a reason, but they were mighty unhappy.
One way
with that.
to go. Wow.
Yeah, I can imagine the size of some of this machinery as well. Like technicians who are able to just pull up in the car, walk to the workshop, and away go. How are you getting like on site?
So most of the time in mining, like you'll stay in like a camp. You're in like just a little compound. Sometimes it's like an hour's drive. Sometimes it's like 10 minutes drive. I've always been field service, so not permanent on one site. So if I'm going to be there for a week or 2 weeks, the first day you like drive your car to the accommodation, settle your stuff in accommodation, and then drive to work, leave your car there, and you get on the bus that takes you from work back to camp, and then you just go to and from on a bus every day, and then on your last shift or whatever, you drive your car back to camp and then go on from there. Yeah, it's almost always bus in, bus out, just because there's so many people in mining. Like for a mine site to run, they need hundreds of people, and it'd be a nightmare if everyone had cars, and it's 1,000 kilometers from anywhere that anyone actually lives. So they just bus you in.
How do you actually get to the machines as well once you're on set? Because I imagine these sites are massive as well.
Yeah, some of them are big. If you're like in a workshop, they'll just bring them in. They've got like a schedule to bring them in for service or whatever. But if you're going to machines that are like in the pit or like down the hole or whatever, and they don't come back to the workshop, then you just drive. Yeah. Sometimes it takes ages, like an hour, because they've got like a light vehicle access road. Yeah. So you can do 60 k's an hour, and it's like an hour. Yeah. So it's 60 kilometers from one end of the mine to the other.
Wow.
That shows the size, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you like shoot down there to go do something and realise you've left like an O-ring, it's just like,
no.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Jaltest has this remote diagnostics feature as well, which would be mind-blowing for mining, where telematics, remote diagnostics. So that exact reason, you're on one side of the mine, machine comes up with a fault code on the other side of the mine, and you look at this fault and you go, could be wiring or it could be a sensor. Let me get a sensor and take it over. Just in that 1 hour or the 2 hours essentially that you've saved by not having to go back, get a part, come back.
Some machines that could be like 6 to 7 figures of saved production. Yeah. That's incredible.
You can actually view live data. You can do like DPF regens and stuff remotely.
Does that just like plug into like the OBD port or whatever? Does that plug in there and you leave it there on the machine?
It runs on the can, doesn't it? But behind it, it's fitted to the machine, if you like, away from it all.
Yeah, so it's like module for the engine, I think.
Yeah, so you can't just pull the plug on it. It's all sort of wired in.
Yeah, so it's like piggybacked off basically. Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, a couple of big fleets, and even do machining operators?
I don't know if
I think
many.
A lot of big fleets have had it in this country, and it is supported for kind of machinery and stuff like that. And so, it's really it's going to be a future, really. Yeah,
game changer for machinery.
Yeah. Well, Roger's mentioned this, but there's a certain, I won't mention what brand it is, manufacturer of truck where at a certain mileage their engines have big problems. So the operators basically fitted this device to all of their trucks to look at, right, what is it that's causing that fault at that mileage? Yep. And they're sort of narrowing it down to a particular part of the engine now.
Yeah.
So every time this truck gets to 500 Ks, that's it. We need to replace that before that causes the problem.
Oh, yeah. And if you're saving engines by doing this much preventative maintenance. And,
exactly. Yeah.
Well, I guarantee it'll be this far out of your warranty is when the engine fails.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
They're good for it.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Programmed obsolescence.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, phones do that well.
There you go. Yeah.
They all do it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They all do it. Like every manufacturer, even if they don't do it on purpose, if they've got to fix 100 things just before they run out of warranty, they're like, we'll make this better so that it lasts out the warranty. But if something is failing by chance and it's just out of warranty, they're not going to give a shit. Yeah. They're like, that's more part sales for us.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's better that way.
No, of course. But 60 Ks to get one side to the other.
That's
and with that, is that like as well? So it takes an hour, but what happens if we have a bit of a collapse or a machine breaks down or a vehicle breaks down, game over.
It will in the surface. It's all right. Like in surface mining, you can generally just go around it. Yeah. You might have to go onto a haul road, which means instead of going 60 Ks, you can only go 40 Ks because you're like mixed traffic there. But in underground, like anyone who's worked underground will say that this is like the nightmare it's fly out day. It's your last night shift or whatever. And a machine will break on the decline and the portal's blocked so no one can get out. That's like the worst scenario. And it does happen. Some places it happens more than others. But machines will break on the decline, and if people aren't listening to their radios, there'll be 50 cars on each side of it just being like beeping their horns at each other like, why isn't everyone moving? And then they'll call out, get everyone to sort of get away from it. The mechanics and auto sparkies will go to the machine and try and fix it or tow it out of the way or do something so they can just like move it around a corner and let people get past. But sometimes if a machine stops on the decline, like the way it works is you just got to shut your car off, park safely, shut your car off, walk past the machine and they'll hopefully send an Uber down to pick you up. Like that's what we call like the little taxis and Uber. Hopefully they'll send like someone in a troop carrier to come pick you up and
Gosh. What are they using for the cars at the
they're all Toyota Land Cruisers.
Are they?
Yeah, you'll never see a mine run anything else.
Yeah.
Like underground, there's nothing else that'll put up with it.
They're like the best for it.
Yeah, they're like slow, dirty pigs of cars. But they're like that from brand new, but they just never get worse.
Yeah.
No.
They love the abuse.
Yeah.
And
it always has been though, hasn't it? They've always had a name for themselves, haven't they? Land Cruisers. But yeah, well, I suppose don't change it. But if it ain't broken.
Was it the Hilux they dropped off a building or something on Top Gear as well, and it still runs?
Yeah.
That's it.
There you go.
Toyota right there. Yeah, in surface mining we mostly use Hiluxes, but underground it's all Land Cruisers. Just because like, and this is going to sound ridiculous to people who aren't in mining, but like in underground you run into the wall a lot. And like
Louis does that too.
Given your truck, you'd be really good. Do you want a job?
The whole site would be tumbling down. It'd just be me. I'd be looking in my mirror on the way back to the camp, going, "Hey, that's a bit weird. There's a bit kicked up some dust there. What have I done?"
Well, that's like it's very common, and people just, I don't know if it's a mining thing that people don't care or what, but people just run into the wall like all the time, and there's like nothing that will take the abuse other than Land Cruiser. They're just like boxy.
They just can't break them.
No, that's right. They're just indestructible.
I suppose we were talking about hydrogen a second ago, weren't we? Like alternative fuels and where. Well, I suppose the first question: where do you think it's going to go? Because it's EV at the minute. You know, the BMW brought out this Tesla this, whatever. Where do you think it's actually going to go, and where do you think it's going to go for machinery?
My prediction is EVs will maintain control of the market for like commercial vehicles, like cars and maybe small trucks.
Yeah.
Even though like BMW have just released a hydrogen car, Hyundai have got a hydrogen car, Toyota have one. I don't think that the general market will be so easily convinced to swap to hydrogen. There's a lot of like wives' tales about them exploding and whatever.
Like the electrical fires on these EVs are better?
We don't talk about that. But I think the amount of precious metals required to make batteries work in heavy machines, and then what to do with those batteries once they're no longer working. The processes of mining, things like lithium. It's not a pretty picture. I don't know how much you've seen on it, but it's. I would not look it up.
No.
It's pretty bad.
Shocking.
Cobalt as well. They mine.
All very, very similar process that I would never want to be a part of.
And unfortunately, we live in a world where I think people either don't understand that, or they're willing just to go overlook that sort of thing and go, "Well, I'm saving the planet."
Yeah.
But actually,
they're
not.
I mean, if you look at the amount of emissions produced by an EV car versus like an efficient diesel car, not even like a diesel hybrid is, they use about half the fuel of a traditional diesel car. If you compare the lifetime emissions produced by those vehicles, they beat EVs every time.
Yeah. Especially if they're Euro 6 as well now. If it's a Euro 6 diesel that it's up against.
Well, you touch the inside of a tailpipe on a Euro 6 diesel and there's nothing. It's clean.
That's how good they are.
Yeah.
And so I think they're much better for the environment than EVs, especially when you look at what happens with the batteries once they're no longer useful. It's an ugly picture. But in terms of like industrial machines, hydrogen is absolutely the future. Like I was saying earlier, two very big companies have been trying for 30 years to no avail to get hydrogen to work. And then, Fortescue Metals basically, I don't know the right word, but snaked a lot of their younger and more ambitious engineers, and it took them 193 days to get wheels turning on a hydrogen machine. If that doesn't say that perhaps they were being limited in their development, then I don't know what will. But when these people were given a blank checkbook and creative freedom, they got it working in 193 days. And now, because they've proven that it can be done, and because of Twiggy Forrest, the guy that runs Fortescue Metals, he's Australia's richest man. He's got enough power to pull the media to see what's happening, you know. He's made enough noise with hydrogen to say, not only can it be done, I'm doing it right now, and I've invested $1 billion of my own money to make it work. Yeah. This is how confident I am. Now, because of that, so Komatsu have just announced that they are partnering with General Electric, and all of their machines will be available in hydrogen by 2030. Caterpillar's focusing on hydrogen very heavily. Liebherr, all their excavators are now available in hydrogen, and like with a little bit of a wait list. And there's a couple of them running full electric, hydrogen powered, but it's remote hydrogen power on those Liebherr excavators in Australia. They're already doing it. Volvo's just announced that they're bringing out their own qualification to be a hydrogen power engineer. And that they're going to start giving really, really heavy like bursaries and scholarships towards people educating themselves in that if they promise to stay working for Volvo. So for, you know, like that's Volvo Penta. They're one of the largest engine producers in the world. CAT's obviously one of the largest machine manufacturers in the world. Komatsu is the second largest machine manufacturer in the world. For them to be committing so much money and making so much noise about how much they're committing to it, I think there's no way to say it's not the future. Diesel will be banned. Diesel will become outlawed. Eventually. And when the only emission from a hydrogen engine is water and oxygen. That's it. That's the only thing that comes out of the tailpipe.
We might get a bit more rain.
That's right.
Which, to be fair, we can probably do with it.
That's right. Like especially in the desert in Australia or you know in Africa. Like.
And to be honest, you put hydrogen and electric next to each other, and you go, "Wow!" I mean, the hydrogen just makes much more sense
than battery electric.
Sorry, sure. And I suppose on sites, especially where these mines are, can you just charge electric vehicles? No. You can't do that. It's just not possible.
You need like not millions, billions of dollars worth of infrastructure. And the life cycles of these machines get very short when you start running batteries. It's just not something. The only way that I can see, and this is a hot take or whatever, but the only way that I see battery electric vehicles or machines being better for the environment is if we invest billions of dollars into sustainably mining nickel, cobalt, lithium, which is not going to happen.
We've already talked about is not the way forward.
It's not going to happen, and we have to start producing the power with like nuclear, and it's just not going to happen because people are scared of it. So don't even have that conversation until people are ready. So I think the hydrogen will get pushed.
Because people forget that electric is actually produced mainly still through using fossil fuels at the moment. Like they think because something is zero emissions, like that doesn't mean that what's come before that is completely clean though.
No.
Like, people just see the end product and think, oh, that's clean.
I see buses in this country with I'm 100% what's the word?
Zero
emissions. Well, technically locally, yes, but not the bigger picture.
Those 10 dirty diesel generators charging them all up every night. Definitely are.
Well, the thing is though, like if with like that kind with like a battery electric, they use less power because they, instead of running a mechanical engine that then powers a gearbox and then you've got your diff and whatever, they save on power by having electric wheel motors, which are always at 100% peak demand torque and are capable of doing whatever RPM. You can pretty much build them to do whatever RPM you want, like, you know, relatively. And so when you run like a Latorno 1850 loader compared to a Cat 994, so the Cat 994 is diesel engine powering a mechanical transmission. Latorno is a diesel engine powering a generator, powering electric wheel motors.
Okay.
The Latorno's bigger, faster, more reliable, fits more in the bucket, all that, and uses less than half the fuel of the Cat 994 per hour because it's a diesel electric hybrid. And so when you combine that with hydrogen and or renewable energy,
it's
incredible. But at the moment, we're just piggybacking off how efficient electric wheel motors are and shoving coal into our Teslas as fast as we can.
No, it's I could go on for hours, to be honest. But
and if we go EV, then we don't get no pops and bangs, do we? So.
Doesn't sound good.
But the petrol head, we are petrol heads, and to be honest with you, with electric vehicles, it just doesn't tick the box, does it?
No.
But
you know the MG, the British manufacturer. Yeah, so there's an MG EV, that is like 30k, something like that, and it's like 400 horsepower electric. And I just find that disgraceful that you can get this horrible looking thing that makes no noise and it's electric and it'll just dust. It's just sickening. It's just absolutely sickening.
So I was at a racetrack in Vegas a couple of months ago, and I've got a passion for like the GT2 RS and the GT3 RS Porsches. They're beautiful cars. And I was like, God, I'm going there. I'm going to drive both of them. And I was like, I'll just drive some other stuff. Like drive a Hummer, or I don't know, something like a Lambo, whatever. And I got there and there was a Tesla Plaid Model S. And I was like, S Model Plaid, whatever. And I was like, I'll have a crack at that. And like 100%, it was way faster than the Porsches. And much easier to drive. I hated it.
Yeah.
They're
it was
fast.
awful.
But that's all they do. It's just fast.
That's straight line.
It was awful. Yeah, it was disgusting. Like, I hated it so much. And the fact that it was faster than like my dream car, I was like, I'm going to vomit in this out of spite. Like, I hate this.
God damn you, Elon Musk.
It's not just about like going faster. It's also about like how the character of the car as well. I think they just lack that personality. Like you just have to blink and you're doing like the speed limit. Like it's not really fun to drive. And they weigh so much as well that they just don't corner well. It's just
watch one go,
no downshifting.
Watch a Tesla go around the corner.
That's right. You've seen like the Moose test or the Swerve test or whatever, and then just like,
you've only got to look at that to go, no.
And like not to crap on him too much. Like he's doing some great things. I don't want. I'm sure he'll have in the comments section. It'll be all the like Elon Musk little fanboys being like, fuck you very much. But not to crap on him at all. Like he is doing some great things.
As a person, he's a very clever person.
And I believe his technology, when it's applied with renewable energy, is absolutely amazing for like the general population. But he can't control where we're getting the energy from at the moment. Like I just before anyone comes at me in the comments.
Unless we start getting it from the moon or something. If there's one guy who figure it out, it's probably
it'll be him.
No, we'll be interested.
His marketing structure and that sort of thing. He's clever what he does. But the product itself is to remain there.
And the other thing is like I'm comparing what is essentially an electric Toyota Yaris. Like they're a very common car. They're mass produced. I'm comparing that to a race edition Porsche. Obviously their build quality is going to be different. I'm sure if he dedicated the amount of time and money to producing a Tesla, and if you paid the same amount of money for a Tesla that you do for a GT2 RS, I'm sure he could make it better. But sure. They are, at the end of the day, they are mass produced and they're not. Yeah, right. They're just not as fun.
No. So you're a Porsche fan as well, then, are you? So
I know about this much about them, but I just think they're a sexy car, and they just like
it's definitely always been one of my favourite cars.
Yeah.
Well, I have this fantasy of one day green GT3.
Yep.
That's my thing.
There's a video that I watch over and over again. It's this American. I don't know where he is. He must be like Nevada or something. And he's reviewing the GT3 RS in this like insane blue. What's the blue called? What's the Porsche blue? You know what I mean? It just pops.
Yeah.
And he's and I just listen to it over and over again.
Is it Miami blue?
Is
it Miami blue?
Baby blue? Or a sharp blue?
Sharp blue. That's it. And I just watched this video over and over again at a certain point. Oh, the noise is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like my first couple of laps, the guy, I was like, obviously there's an instructor in there with you. My first couple of laps, my leg was just like shaking, and I was just like, "Oh God!" I was excited. It was, it was an experience.
I
can well imagine.
And in Vegas as well.
Yeah, Yeah.
And they're now doing the race the F1 in Vegas, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, I think, when I was there last time, it was like in the lead up to it, and the locals hate it.
Oh, they do?
Really?
They're mighty unhappy about it.
I've seen some videos as well of this.
Really?
Yeah, because like in Vegas, like across the strip, they build like there's like footbridges to go over, because obviously you can't just go through the strip. There's a million cars, so they build all the footbridges, and you can see the racetrack from a lot of the footbridges, and so that people had to buy tickets, they put these like big like security screens so you couldn't see the racetrack.
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, and it was like, I think for a hotel room facing the racetrack, F1 had found a way to make it so that if you were in one of those rooms, you had to pay $40,000. Because and this could be wrong. I was talking to like a concierge at the motel. That was
it makes sense.
So like, but I was there and they were putting up security screens, and everyone was just like yelling at the construction. It was like, pigs. Like,
because they're like frosting the glass, weren't they? So you couldn't directly see over. And there's a lot of uproar about, trees and, sort of wildlife that's been there for, all this time. They're sort of literally cutting down trees. And sort of ruining it, really, for 1 week, sort of race, really.
1 weekend every year.
Yeah. And every year it will do the same thing.
It's good though.
Yeah.
And we don't go to Vegas for trees. So.
No, that's it. I can imagine the experience is unbelievable. But if you're a local, I get why that would annoy
you'd be sad.
I just find that really bizarre. I get that, the whole inconvenience and the costings and stuff. But it's not like in Vegas you go, it's an area of natural beauty. It must be protected. We need to keep it quiet. Yeah, I'm sure they see worse with the stag do's. Do you know what I mean?
It's
what happens in Vegas.
That's right. Like it's they would. You do see like the worst of people in Vegas for sure. Like, it's really where humanity goes to like reach an all-time low. But
have you ever tried to watch electric, like the F1, the Formula E?
Yeah. There's no.
Isn't it funny how you move this? Even though now they don't sound great, like the V10s screaming, they were amazing. Yeah. But even now, when you try and watch the Formula E, it's like, this is so boring. I don't know. It's just
so tell it. I'm like, has it gone here?
Even when you know, like, and comparatively, even when you know, like, all that's going to happen is Verstappen's going to get in front, smoke everyone else. Like, you know who's going to win before the race even happens. It's still more entertaining.
It was much better when. Exactly. To be fair, it was the same before, just with Lewis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then Michael Schumacher before that.
But now we'll cry sad about it.
But now we'll cry about it because it's Max. So
I went to the Netherlands. While Verstappen, just while Verstappen was like on his, like on the last of like his hot streak or whatever. But I'm not like that closely into F1, but I do enjoy it. And I went to the Netherlands at the time, and you could not look anywhere without seeing people just all in like
orange.
Verstappen, like just all in like team jackets, like Red Bull hats.
Yeah,
it was like I don't know. It was like, oh, you're a citizen. Here you go. Like,
he is insane though. He is an insane driver.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't like him, but. Yeah, you can't knock his ability.
Yeah, it's like this smug, young.
Yeah.
He's a lot better now. He's got a bit older, but I think when he had all this talent at such a young age, and he hadn't gone in the traditional way either. He didn't go Formula 3, Formula 2. Yeah. They've literally just taken him out of just putting him in, and he's just a machine.
Yeah. Well, obviously F1's like it's. Like a lot like tennis or whatever, where it's like very much prestige and there's a way to do things. And he's just, especially because Red Bull's such like a new money company, they're not old money, and they just like went around everything you're supposed to do, broke all the rules, and then came in and smoked all the competition. Like it's,
Be interesting what happens with motor racing. Surely that'll end up that'll be one of the last things, surely.
Yes. Yeah,
and then I get why they'd be more likely to use electric, but surely it'll go hydrogen as well. But it would be... I don't know, with the electric, you don't have to. Do you have to worry so much about? After this, the battery's going to be completely shot and burn out. To be honest with you, they go through so many engines in the F1. Like, do they even care?
Yeah, absolutely not. Like,
as long as they've got a bin to put them in.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They, the engines in F1 cars are basically on wing nuts. So they can just take them out and chuck another one in. Yeah. Like, it's not. They're not exactly made to last forever. No. Like they're.
So it will be interesting to see where we go with motor racing.
Biofuels or something. Like e-fuels.
We're talking Porsche with the synthetic fuels.
Yeah, we're talking Porsche. They were doing something, as you say, a couple of years ago. So really interesting. Something that took my eye actually was something called e-fuels, which is biofuels.
Yep.
So where was it made? It was made in. I can't remember exactly where it was made now, but No, it wasn't this country.
It was somewhere in was it somewhere in Asia or South America? South America.
Seen
through glass went, didn't it?
Yeah, it's wherever Top Gear did
somewhere in South America. Was it Argentina?
Argentina.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Argentina. Because of the wind there as well, they're making this fuel that literally is recyclable.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Really?
And they're sort of taking biomass and wind power, combining it somehow together and making this fuel that is essentially petrol.
Yeah.
But it's not petrol.
Wow.
Putting it
Carbon
neutral fuel straight into your normal petrol car, and it was driving like a petrol car.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the
no adaptations made?
The thing is, though, it was the infrastructure needed to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And there was some crazy figures on it as well. I can't remember what the figures were, but it was something like they'd need X amount of power stations or X amount of stations to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then even then, they would require more than what we've got now, and even that would still only just do the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't
That's
even
like
do the rest.
just.
Yeah.
As an idea,
So-
I mean, there's actually a company in the UK also making it. But again, no adaptations to a petrol car at all. You just put this stuff in the car and it
So
works.
that's how you like make it work is when the customer, like when the end user doesn't have to modify their life or their convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you get it to work.
Yeah.
It's when you're telling
People are lazy. They
Yeah.
just want,
Yeah, exactly.
Got the
Exactly.
easiest route to get something.
yeah.
especially when they're not invested in the change, like, and they don't really care. Like,
That's it.
you know,
Yeah.
like Debbie that's taking her 16 children to school and the soccer or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
doesn't really care about
No.
what happens to a battery after you throw it out.
That's
Like,
it. Yeah, buy a car off the shelf. That'll do. Right,
Yeah.
sell it. Then something
Yeah.
else. Yeah, exactly. Well, I suppose you're a car guy. Australia. Do you watch Mighty Car Mods? Do you know Mighty Car Mods?
yeah, like on YouTube. Yeah, bits and pieces. Right,
Yeah, no, it's one of my favourite channels actually. But again, their progression over the years is just amazing.
Well,
really,
yeah.
starting on a driveway with
Yeah.
these little like I can't even
Little
tell
trolley,
what they are.
That's it.
Yeah, these
little
little
Daihatsu charade thing.
to where they are now, watching videos in these like big like garages now, and they got 250,000 views per video. You know, that's a fair play to them. But no, I didn't know
Was
if
he
you
like the Australian version of Matt Armstrong?
I suppose. Who could compare it to?
Who's I always forget his name. The British guy who was like a MotoGP rider, I think, at one point.
Matt Armstrong. He's the MX rider.
Yeah.
No, Guy Martin.
Guy Martin.
Guy Martin.
okay,
He's like very Guy Martin-y. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, he's just like happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, just have a shot at anything. But no, I didn't know if you obviously would have heard of them. But they're two really good guys actually.
Yeah. And yeah, they've like come so far. Like, and now they've got the money to do a really cool project.
Oh, I
it's
know.
like,
Yeah, I know. I do tend to watch their series, but that again,
I think their latest video was like an up GTI conversion.
That was it.
But we just take it for granted because we've got one, haven't we? Like up GTI.
Yeah, that's it. Because in Australia, you don't get the up GTI. You only get the up, and they've bought basically a crashed car from the UK or the underpinnings.
Yeah,
got it shipped to Australia.
Yeah,
and they've put an up GTI sort of running gear in this up, and it's the first one to be done in Australia, and they've done it. And
we miss out on a lot of cool cars. Like we get some of our own that other people don't get, but we miss out on a lot
still
of cool
putting
cars.
V8s in like the family car.
We're like, you can. I think until maybe 2017 or something, you could buy like a 700 horsepower family.
Yeah.
Like little Chevy, like our Holden is like Chevy.
Yeah.
That's it. Holden.
Yeah. You could buy like a Maloo, which is like a Ute, or like a Club Sport, which is just like a family sedan.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, it's got an LS9 and a supercharger.
That's so cool. But that's something we don't get here though.
No.
To be fair. So I think that's really
like
cool.
the only thing we get though. And then, we miss out on like a lot of cool things. And the Mercs and things like that are like prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
So it's like shipping costs and stuff as well, isn't it?
And the tax as well, like because we view it as a luxury car tax.
Okay.
So any car that's not produced in Australia, which we don't produce any cars anymore, but any car that's not produced in Australia and doesn't have military on the VIN plate, we pay luxury car tax, which is absurdly high in Australia. So like if you want to buy a Merc C63, they're like crazy expensive.
Why can't you just register your S-Class as a tank?
Well, so like Land Cruisers all come out. Like I'm a Land Cruiser driver, and they come out and they've got military on the VIN plate because whatever military in the world uses them, they just register them as that so that they can come here.
That's it.
Yeah.
Got it.
It is quite funny, really, how like all these tax implications like, there's always a way to get around it. Do you know what I mean? It's so funny how you tax up to the eyeballs that this has got a tax on it, that's got a tax on it, that's got a tax on it, but there will be some loophole somewhere that gets you around it, or somebody can find it anyway.
Well, there is a few in this country already. So obviously we have a luxury car tax, anything over £40,000.
Oh yeah, you pay
a
premium. Sorry, you do.
But funnily enough, talking back to the electric sort of agenda at the minute, there is literally there's no road tax you have to pay on them, isn't there?
Yeah, no.
And there's like financial business schemes you can buy electric cars from
pre-tax.
Yeah. And that's people's way into it.
It's just pushing people.
That's it. Which is again, it's just a bonkers way of doing it. But you know, that's how they get
Buy an electric car will give you some tax free.
That's so good for the planet.
Yeah.
You're sitting over here like, I'll go bankrupt before I do it. Take your electric car and shove it.
That's it. Pretty much.
That. That would have been a good question if you were working on them. What's it like to work on compared to?
They're really not that different. No, like the things that go wrong with hydrogen machines are generally the same things that go wrong with like diesel machines. Like it's going to be, you know, an O-ring, a sensor, a hose, something like that. It's all it's all very much.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Well, I suppose no one has to retrain, because that's going to be a major thing. Like, it's hard enough to get technicians in this industry anyway. No. But if we're then going to have to tell all these technicians who have been in it for 20, 30 years, oh, by the way, you know nothing now.
Yeah, no. It's all very, very similar.
Yeah.
Which is another positive, isn't it?
Yeah. The production of the hydrogen is slightly difficult for people to deal with, but in all honesty, that's sort of its own job. And so you won't be telling, you know, Dave, the 45-year-old diesel mechanic, that he has to learn all this other stuff.
Go back to college.
Yeah, no, it's all very similar.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Absolutely is. Yeah, absolutely is.
Probably not a bad time to actually get in as a young tech then now, really, because you could become very much hydrogen specialist if you're knocking on the right doors.
Well, Australia now has like a recognised trade where you can split like towards the end of your trade instead of doing diesel. I believe it's only in Queensland for now, but in the next couple of years it'll be everywhere, and you can push in your final year to go a little bit more and specialise in hydrogen.
Yeah. And isn't it so weird how they're so quiet around hydrogen?
Yeah, it's because people don't like it.
Yeah.
People have been told for a long time it doesn't work. So
it's so dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah, they just try like not to speak about it.
Yeah.
It's just sort of under the carpet stuff. Yeah.
Because JCB put a lot of money, didn't they, recently?
Yeah, JCB. JCB have done
one of the first, I think, to have not one of the first, but
it was an excavator as well.
Here.
None of the size you're talking about.
But little baby diggers.
Yeah, little baby digger.
The thing is, though,
my size digger.
Well, the thing is, though, like there's those 9800 diggers. There's probably 150 of them in the world.
Yeah,
those JCB diggers. There'd be thousands of them. Like really. They're going to do more for the planet by converting them to hydrogen than Liebherr will with their big, strong Texas digger. They're going to do more by converting thousands of small diggers to hydrogen because the overall emissions saved is more.
Yeah. We'll have to put some of the pictures of the machine. Are you allowed to share pictures?
Sure.
I was going to have to put some of the pictures of some of the stuff that you work on on screen and stuff.
Yeah, I've got
because I think a lot of people won't realise the actual
scale.
Calamity, the scale of how massive these things are.
Yeah, for sure. Like the L2350 loaders, like they're the biggest tire in the world. And I know I've done nothing but ramble about them. Like I just love them. But like for me, I'm 6'3". For me to be walking past one, if I stand next to the tire and I put my hand up as far as I can reach, I don't reach the middle of the hub.
Wow.
like the just where the tire joins the rim is like here on me.
Yeah.
Like it's 6 feet of rubber.
Wow.
And then,
that's bonkers.
10 feet of rim and then another 6 feet of rubber. Like it's.
If it was an alloy, I'd be one of the spokes.
Literally that. Yeah. Yeah,
it's it's really refreshing to sort of hear your passion as well for the industry you're in and what you do as well, because it makes such a difference. If you enjoy what you do, the job isn't a job, is it?
That's right. Like my parents they always remind me, like my first word was wheels, my second word was tools. Like I was
really
like this was always. I think mum and dad came much later than that, and I think that's a bit heartbreaking for them. But this is always what I was going to do. I love it. it's cool. Like I can't
it's
imagine
in your blood. You're a technician by blood. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine going to a job that I hate. Like that would make me sick. Like, or just like doing something boring, just sitting behind a desk. Like, or it would, I know some people love it. Some people, get right into what they're doing. The thought of that makes me ill.
Yeah.
Could not do it.
Do you have your own little projects?
Yeah. I've got a Land Cruiser at the moment that's getting pushed to
900 horsepower.
I'd like 300 kilowatts on 35-inch tires, which is not really that much. There's a company in Australia that's got one, and it's like well over 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
But I'd like 300 kilowatts on 35-inch tires. But for me, like that's sort of been pushed out of the focus just because. One, I hate working on cars.
Yeah,
a lot of heavy mechanics do hate working on cars, and that is the thing. Yeah,
it's infuriating because, like, for us, like you just bash stuff with a hammer until it works, and like if I hit that, not only is it going to break it, it's going to be expensive. It's coming out of my wallet.
That's it.
It's a tragedy.
Or if you do anything to it, it's no longer got covered under warranty.
That's right.
Yeah. Or if you say they're broken or unreliable, you get sued. And
that's right.
Yeah.
That's sort of been pushed to the side just with how much I'm traveling at the moment. I just at the moment I'm just experiencing what's out there.
We were talking earlier, weren't you? The freedom you've actually got with your work as well. You can just sort of go off and just do your own thing on your days off, which I
love the idea of we'll fly you anywhere.
Yeah.
On your days, that's insane.
Yeah, it's great. It's a real perk, and it's why I got into the industry to begin with.
Where have you travelled on that benefit, on those perks?
I've travelled like Thailand. I've done like Croatia, the UK, Germany, Italy, Spain. Where else have I gone?
Where'd you go to Croatia?
I'm boring. I went to Split.
Yeah.
And then,
I've only done Dubrovnik, which is like the most touristy. Jump on a cruise. It's that.
I got on like a little bus thing and went like a few hours north of Split into like the rainforest and went to these like hot springs.
Oh, cool.
It was amazing. I
didn't even know there were any.
Yeah, no, it's killer. It's beautiful. It's like at these waterfalls. It was. If you're going back anytime soon, I'll show you where it is. I've done a lot of the US. I'll go to like one or two states and then come back, and then next time go back and do another couple of states. And so I normally do like one break in the States and then one break somewhere in Europe.
Nice.
Go to like the Netherlands. Just wherever. Just I land with 2 days accommodation booked, and I've got 3 weeks of time, and I'm just like, all right, where am I going? Like,
that is so
just
cool.
meet like people in pubs, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, we're going here tomorrow.
Yeah,
and I'm like, or they'll be like, oh, you should really go here.
Yeah,
we've got these friends that are going. Like, if you want to meet up with them, and that's been like the best thing is just like getting pushed on these like random adventures. And
how do your shifts work then? Do you sort of work solidly for amount of time? Or?
So like we arrive on site. You start day shift the next day. You do 3 weeks a day shift, and it's all 6 till 6, 12-hour days. And then you have a day off, change to night shift, and then it's the same thing, 6 till 6, 12-hour night shifts
for
3 weeks, and then they fly you to Accra, which is the capital of Ghana, and then you just get on a plane there and
off you go
to Dubai or wherever.
And then you have how much time off then?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. So wow.
Yeah. So I'll get about 15 weeks a year off.
Oh. So you get one night, you get one day, and then you have to go on 3 weeks worth of night shifts.
Yeah. It's actually easier than it sounds because like for you to do like a 12-hour night shift and say you lived here and you family's 20 minutes, half an hour down the road, you got to go home, you got to cook, you got to like do all this. I think about nothing other than work.
Sleep.
I text someone, they like cook my food. I don't do my washing. I don't have a missus and kids. I don't have kids waking up screaming, like whatever. I'm just there to work. They limit as many distractions as they can. It's very like you are here to work. That is your job.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the rest of your life is in your time off.
Yeah.
And so like I actually think it's easier than
what a great concept that is.
Focus on this while you're here and then focus on whatever you like when you're not.
Because you're right, we all do have distractions. Whatever it is, you know, we wake up and think, oh, that's going on in the background, or that's happening. Well, if you're there, you're there.
Yeah.
You know, that your mindset is work.
And especially underground too, like you go underground, there's no phone reception. Once you're 20 meters in the portal, your phone can't ring. You're actually not even supposed to have your phone underground. No. So like your phone can't ring. You've got no TikTok, no Instagram. Yeah, there's nothing to distract you. You've got a radio that tells you what machines are broken when someone will ring you, and you can play with the clock in your car, I guess. Like that's you're there to work. So it's
thought you were going to say radio to listen to music, but no, radio to listen to what machines are broken.
Depending on the site, a lot of places it's actually banned because they won't. Yeah, because like people will just be listening to the music and
they can't hear the tunnels collapsing.
That or like even just something smaller, like in underground when you're going, the tunnel's only as wide as one machine. So if a machine's going up, it has right of way because that's bringing material out of the mine. So if you're going down the shaft, like down the decline, you've got to wait because they'll call up, I'm at stockpile 16. If you're at stockpile 15, it means you need to pull into the stockpile, let that one go past and then start going. Yeah. And because if you get it wrong, you can't turn around and you've got to reverse in this. This sounds ridiculous. I can't explain to you how dark it is underground. Like I know it sounds obvious, but it's dark. You cannot see a thing. And so you've got like these reverse lights that are always covered in dust or mud or something, and you're trying to reverse uphill in this tunnel in an articulated truck. Like it's always chaos whenever someone's not listening to their comms. So they mostly like ban radios. Yeah.
If someone like switches off just for a split second, it causes an absolute nightmare. Yeah. How long does it take them to actually get up? So if you were right down the bottom, how long does it take?
Some, again, depending on the mine, in like an LV, like a car, you can do like depending on the site, like 30, 35, 40 Ks an hour, just depending on what site it is. Might take you like, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour. But if you get stuck behind a truck and they're doing like they're menacing 8 kilometers an hour up the hill and you're stuck there and you've like, there's no passing bay for, another, say 10 levels, 15 levels or whatever, just depending on the way the mine's set up. You might be stuck behind that truck for half an hour. And then, so like the trucks on really deep mines, it could take them an hour and a half, 2 hours. But there's always, and it depends on like, the traffic, if there's trucks coming down or if like the nippers, which are like the roustabouts, if the roustabouts are doing something and they're moving mesh, so they've called up and said they're non-reversible, which means they can't pull into a stockpile or the loaded trucks have to move for them, and it's, it can turn into chaos really quickly. Like you can get traffic jams that are really bad. Sometimes
it turns you into a really patient person.
It's patience is a virtue. I'm getting it. It's, I don't think I've got enough of it yet. But
does it make you travel really easy? Like being in all these situations, we always say, because we're in the car for so many hours, that we can go on a 2-3 hour drive and it's nothing.
I actually love going on long drives. Like when I'm home, that's how I clear my head. If I've got like something going on or a stressful day or a stressful week, whatever, I'll normally just like get in the car and just go drive for a couple of hours and just go somewhere to have a coffee and then just drive like a couple of hours back. Just, I don't know, I find driving's like good to.
I get that.
So I love that. And like sometimes if you're like coming out of the mine and you've just had like a really shit shift, really bad shift, and it's, it's like you've been hot, you haven't had your time for lunch or whatever. You're covered in grease and oil. Like getting stuck behind a truck actually doesn't feel so bad because you're like, all right, I can't change anything that's happening right now. I've got time to like decompress.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, I actually am okay with being stuck behind this truck because it means I can decompress before I get up to the surface, and everyone wants to know everything about what I've been doing and why didn't I do it this way? Why didn't you do it that way? Or what happened here? And
you can't control it. You might as well just be a passenger in it, really.
So there's a guy on TikTok, Eyes of Minelife. He's an Australian welder, goes around, does mining stuff. Everyone go check out his page. He does like at the end of all his videos, he says a thing about call your mate, and it's just about like men's mental health awareness. And just, I think not enough blokes are ringing their friends and seeing how they're going. And if more people could get onto that, it'd be a good thing. Bring your mates and
well, thanks for coming, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
It's been fun.
Cool. Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and let us know who you want on Talkin Shop next.